And then you'd see him afterwards at the Travel Lodge. It'd be one big giant party with the fans and the boys, and there'd be no difference.
No, the fans were a part of the show.
Yeah,
and that's how we came up with the idea of bring your own weapons. At the very beginning, that just came out of somebody handing a guy, whatever during a show. Hey, that's an idea, and we used that as a main event. Bring your own weapons match, and people came to that building, that arena. Chris, oh my God, chainsaws, and what? Chainsaws? We're taking that shit away, putting it, no. You gotta have some kind of limits here. The guy taking which they did, they ended up taking off his prosthetic leg, and he handed it to one of the boys. I think maybe it was Funk. And Funk's beating a guy with somebody's leg, a fan's leg. I'm like, what? Where am I? You're not in Oz anymore. It's
I got hit with a Nintendo 64 once, the first and only time.
I remember and then I remember New Jack coming out with a kitchen sink, just for the obvious joke of the kitchen sink, and but yeah, so the fans got involved more and more, and their chants, they had a chants for everybody. They'd sing a song. The whole building they don't learn the words of it. I don't even know. They made it up as they went along or something, but they were all, each person had their own thing that went with them. Whether it was the Shaw, they're like Shaw, shit, show your tits, each person had their own thing the fans came up with on their own. They actually were interactive with us, or they were part of it. Because we were fans. When we started this thing, there was a bunch of hardcore fans who liked that kind of product. They wanted to believe they were watching. And these guys put together shows and matches that were totally believable. Like when I was a little kid, I thought Bruno was actually beating the shit out of it. I mean, I believed it. And I wanted to have that back and let the next generation of fans have that same feeling. Because it's a great, glorious sport that should always be appreciated.
So at this point in time, are you mostly just a television character? Do you have anything to do with the administration office?
Absolutely. First of all, all the deals were done by me and made by me originally. So it was my contacts, whether it's Fumi Saito in Japan or whoever may have been. And
gotcha.
Paul was not good at A, keeping his word, B, telling the truth from the jump. And, so people didn't want to deal with him. And so I wanted my investment back. And my deal was I'm going to stay here until I get my money back that I invested. The only way to make that happen was to oversee those deals and make sure they went through. I mean, someone said, "Where's my tape?" I'm waiting, Fumi, where the hell's my tape?
Right.
But why aren't I getting them? I go, Paul, send him his goddamn tape. It's like I just ride him, even though at this point it's his company.
Yeah. But
that's how we did it. So we always got, I was always the businessman and also a character, and he was, who he was, the mad scientist. As Kevin Soul used to say, God bless him, he said, what you really need to do is lock this guy up in a room somewhere. Never let him talk to any human beings, and just let him create.
Not a bad call. It's a call.
That's what he used to always say to me, though. Yeah, because he's a mad scientist and should be treated as such. But you should never let him talk to people. He does nothing but get in trouble when he opens his mouth and talks to people. He starts that stammering and he gets nervous. Forget about it.
Were you surprised to see ECW get as big as you guys did?
Well, yeah, because it was never my intent. Originally, Easter, just to do a little fun, once in a while, have a show every month, just so I can enjoy myself. I never saw it happening like that, but I realized why, and I could understand it. I didn't think it would happen like that. I certainly wasn't my intent. My intent, I would have had a much better. I would have walked a lot longer before I started running if my intent was to grow it like that, because I knew there was a way to do it. But again, if there was the internet, Chris, and we could have sold those arena shows for $1 or $2 to anybody who bought one on the internet.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We would make it a couple $100,000 a night.
Yeah.
But instead, we had to wait for the people to get the tape, and 3 weeks later, play another VCR. It really hammered, the Stonewall hammered us from growing at the way we could have grown. So we're growing so fast without getting the money in to make it work. And the pay-per-views really did us in, because you had to get the money up for the pay-per-view for the second one before you got paid for the first one.
Oh,
so
right.
The outlet it's horrible. What a system! You put out all this money for a pay-per-view, you're happy as hell about it, but you're not going to get paid until you have to put money for the next pay-per-view. Yeah. And that was just brutal for us. And that's really was the end financially for me. That was just too much.
When did you leave ECW?
I left in '97.
Did you have a falling out with Paulie, or did you just decide to go?
Yeah, we had a falling out. It got to a point where now he's wanted me to, like, you wanted to lie, you wanted me to swear by, kind of thing. You wanted me to back him up. Boys, when he would tell him something, I said I can't do that, because one of the reasons I think that we were successful is just not one worker in the whole history of the company will ever tell you that I ever lied about anything, ever. And I didn't. I just didn't. I didn't want. It's not the way I did business. If you don't want, like what I'm saying to them, okay, but I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh, don't worry, my plan is that next week you're going to do, next show, what we're going to do with you is, I couldn't do that. Or say, don't worry, say the check's in the mail, or I left off the FedEx number, the last number of the thing, or my Halliburton was stolen. I mean, Jesus Christ.
That happened to me a bunch.
Of course. And I said, that's just a terrible way to do business. But by that point, these guys were so desperate to have, a career, be on TV, that they just accepted it. And they just said, like, fuck it, it's better not working at all. And I guess I understand that mentality, but I would never have done that. I could never run a show by another money in there, try to depend on that people at the door to pay for it. If I knew the money, couldn't do it. I had to put money up front always. So I'd always know that I was getting paid that night, and always getting a good check. Never wrote a bad check in my life.
Was it strange for you to leave ECW and to see it continue on for another couple of years at least? Yeah,
it was. I felt that everything had changed by then. By the time I left, people were jumping to WCW. I had boys coming up to me begging me to get them into WCW because I had a good relationship with Kevin still and Nancy.
Right.
Nancy was, God, I love Nancy to death.
Yeah, she was great.
The best. She traveled with us also, Squirt, Fonzie, Sammy, and I. She was like the mother, in the car. She was trying to keep us calm. All right, guys, all right, easy, calm down. No. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she had the knife in her boot, whatever. Still, she told us to calm down, right?
Right.
But yeah, so they all wanted to go. I mean, Raven went, and Sammy wanted to go, and people just wanted to leave, and I got it. So I said, I helped Teddy and Johnny when they left. Paul wanted them to go to Vince, and I said, if you're signing to Vince, let me talk to Kevin, see if he's got a better offer for you. Of course he did, and they went there, and they made more money, and they were happier there than ever were working for Vince. And the boys were just miserable. And what had happened for the first time was there was now factions. There was the New York clique, there was the Philadelphia clique. But when you got there in '96, it was still the ECW clique.
That's right. That's right.
And when that stopped happening, honestly, is when I stopped running it. I'm being quite honest about it. That's when it started to fall apart that way. People just didn't have that family kind of feeling anymore. I think I'd like to think that I kept the glue to keep everybody together like that, because we all were in it together. And then after that, it was not. It was like, Paul with his little Vince help, and the New York guys, the Taz, Dreamer, Bubba. And and then there was the other clique, which was another Sabu, Sandman, RVD, whoever made it, the partiers, so to speak. And that's just what happened, just divided up. So there's no more unity there. And that's when Paul came up with the whole mold thing, to come up with an idea to try to get the locker room back together. He said, listen, you want to leave, that's fine, but you got to help me here. I've lost the locker room. I said, no shit. He said, I got to get him back. The way we were successful in the beginning is us against the world. We were the rebels, man. We were anti-establishment.
That's true.
First people to go on TV and have Shane Douglas talking about Hulk Hogan sticking a needle in his ass. I mean, we shot on everybody. And nobody had done that before. We broke so many barriers, so many mores in the wrestling business that no one else had ever done before. And that's what made us unique and different. You never knew what the hell was going to happen on our show. We'd bring people in without announcing them. Rick Rude showed up unannounced. Bobby and Arn came in unannounced. I mean, people don't do that. That's giving people 10 times more than they
Jerry Lawler.
Right. Cornette. I mean, you never knew who was going to show up. So you had to be there for those arena shows because they were must-see TV, so to speak. They really were.
As we start to wind down, Todd, I just want to talk to you about some of your personal favorite memories as a television performer. Some of the angles that you were involved in as the commissioner of ECW.
Well, of course, the whole thing with Fonzie, that went on for a year before we finally had our first match, and then we ended up working everywhere together. That was pretty cool because people for the first time. These are smart fans. I mean, that
Right.
building was filled with smart fans. They believed he was from the State Athletic Commission. They absolutely bought that gimmick that he was not part of the company, that he was sent by the state to break up ECW. Chris, the first show he was on, they were waited outside with sticks and boards after the show was over just to kill Fonzie. Now, we've had every heel move that in the history of the business done before that. No one thought anything about it. He comes in, all he does is talk, and they wanted to kill him. He was so over it. It was unbelievable. And we let it go. We let it go, you know, and people believed he suspended me. People, I mean, the night of our first match, we were in an elevator together coming down from Travel Lodge. And these guys on the elevator are going, they see me, they see Fonzie. That's going to be our big night, our first big match in the arena that night. They're going, all right, Todd, we got this. And Fonzie's going, Toddster, tell him it's a wizard. Tell him it's a wizard, Todd. Tell him it's a wizard. They got a circle around him. I'm going, hey, guys, don't worry. I got this. You know, relax. But Jesus, they would have killed him that night. I didn't even make it to the building. I said, holy shit. But, yeah, that was obviously my favorite. Then the other ones were like Sammy and blinding angle. I mean, that was a great angle where people actually thought he was blind. I mean, they were calling me up. The workers were calling me up. The sheets were, how's he doing?
Wow. Was that Raven who blinded him?
No, Dreamer.
Right.
And they stopped. We made that so realistic. We stopped the match. We're in the back. We've taped it all. The guys are fighting. Get him out of here! Like they're fuck you. And Jim's going, help me. I'm going, Jim. Like no one's ever called him Jim. He's been bored, right? I mean, that's how much when we really made this thing real. And we worked the boys, which I didn't like doing, but it's the only way to make an angle really work is if the boys don't spoil it for everybody else. So they all thought he was blind. And when he came in that night with all bandaged up, it was so bandaged up, it was ridiculous looking, but still, it was a great angle. I mean, it really they hook, line, and sinker. It was just a great friggin' angle. Funk in a Box. There were so many good angles we did there. I don't know if you remember the Funk in a Box. Were you there for Funk in a Box?
No. What was Funk in a Box?
Sandman was supposed to work Cactus. Funk had been going for like 4 or 5 months. Sandman got the concussion in the prior show. He couldn't work. So he was going to bring somebody out to wrestle Cactus. They brought DC Drake. I don't know who that is or not.
Yeah, I do. From the Carmen Despirito magazines.
Yes, he brings out DC Drake out of the box. Now there's a curtain over the box, but no one really thinks about it. Now him and they're fighting Cactus Beach for like a minute. He goes into Sandman. He knocks Sandman into the box. He goes to get him out with the blanket over him. He pulls him out, takes him in the ring, pulls the blanket off, and it's Terry Funk.
Wow.
Sandman went out. He went out with 2 of the exact same sweatpants, red, white, and blue. So it looked, like Sandman being pulled out of the box. Funk had not been there in 4 months. No one even knew he was in town. When he pulled that thing off, that whole building was like we did a magic trick or something. It was such a great moment, and like just a freeze frame moment. Like the whole building is like, what just happened here? Like how did Sandman turn? It was just that good an angle. And certain things like that, I always remember those angles being good.
How about the atmosphere in the arena? I mean, there was just some amazing classic moments in there. Does any of those stand out for you? Like just the crowd being involved?
Well, yeah. I mean, the crowd was, as I said, the crowd was interactive with us, saying that they knew their part. Like you come out, here comes Stevie. Let's start singing. Stevie takes it up the ass, and they don't start singing. How they all did that in unison? To this day, I don't know how they did that. 3 people, 4 people. How many people did they get involved? But the whole building was singing it. I don't know.
Total party atmosphere, right?
Yeah, and they knew that they respected us and we respected them. We never insulted their intelligence. I hated that when people insulted the fans' intelligence. Like this guy's going to be suspended for life. Then he was back with a hood on. No, I couldn't stand that. Or there'd be a strip match where a girl gets her top ripped off, but they never do. So we did. Yeah. So we said that was Eddie Gilbert, by the way. He said, "Rip her top off." I said, "You can't do that." He goes, "Who said you can't?" I said, "Well, I just assumed you couldn't. You can do anything you want in wrestling." And I remembered that because when I wanted to have Sandman come out with a beer and a cigarette, Paul turned to me and says, "You can't have him go out to the ring with a cigarette." And I said, "Who says you can't?"
Right.
And he went, all right, let's try it. I look how that, and from there, how his career went, making out that beer and cigarette the first time.
I remember watching Kimono Wanalea do a strip tease from the Crow's Nest when the ring was broke.
Yeah.
And she did a full trip, and I was with Terry Gordy, and he was like, he had spitting in the cup, and he was like, what do you think, Terry? He goes, I ain't never seen nothing like this at no wrestling match before.
Terry Gordy, remember Jim Thorpe Mountain?
Yeah. This was a venue that was built on the side of a mountain that felt like if one board collapsed, we would just slide down the whole fucking mountain.
Terry Gordy's first night in was that weekend. We go Jim Thorpe and then the arena the next night. So we're all together going over the show, and before the show starts, we're out on the little balcony where everybody's afraid they're going to fall to their death. And all of a sudden, Paul goes, is somebody smoking pot? And Terry Gordy goes and puts his hands behind his back, and you see a drift of smoke coming up over his head like this. And he's going, he goes, Terry, can you go outside? Like, what the fuck are you doing here? You can't smoke pot in the dressing room here. It's like, you can't do that. He was hilarious. There's so many stories.
Yeah. Last few things for you, Todd. Well, two questions. One, what are your favorite matches you ever saw in ECW? Is there one or two of them that stand out as the ones that blew your mind?
You were actually in one of them.
Oh wow!
That four-way dance with you.
Scorpio and Shane Douglas for the TV title.
Wow, that match was fucking off the hook. You guys really tore it up that night.
Thank you. Yeah.
Including Anthony, the Pitbull left half his arm on a ring post that night. Remember that?
Yeah.
Tough dude. But yeah, you guys tore that place apart. And the double dog collar match with Raven Richards against the Pitbulls, also a great, actual match. All the Guerrero Malenko things are
amazing, revolutionary.
Plastics. Absolutely. And why didn't you tell anybody you could cut a promo? My God, who knew? Who knew you could cut a promo like that? You never did any of those promos when you were here with us. You fucking amazing on the mic. You never.
I never had a chance.
I know.
I never had a chance.
Taz was the same way. First time I heard him do a promo when he turned on me that night, I fought Fonzie. I'm like, and it says Paul. Really, so like, who is this guy? Who knew he could talk like that? All he ever done is go meet, and jump up and down as a tag meeting. Who knew he could talk like that? Who knew you could? But yeah,
it was a great place to learn and get confidence. That's for sure. And to watch the guys that could really talk.
And you could work too, boy. You could really work, man.
Thank you, man.
I'm glad your career's done as well as it has. Also, I really am. It's good for you.
Well, thank you. And a lot of that became of what I learned in ECW. Like you said, there's nothing like being. It's one of the reasons why I still love being in the business, because you need those older guys, the Terry Funks, shall we say. For me, I learned a lot from Shane Douglas when I was in ECW. Terry wasn't there at the time. But the veterans that have been around, you have to learn from those guys to figure out how to become a top guy. No one can tell you how to become a top guy, but they can give you advice and thoughts and ideas on what you have to do to continue to grow. And that's why ECW was so valuable for me, even though I was only there for a short period of time.
And I can tell you this, I remember Eddie telling me when to bring in Shane Douglas. I went, Shane Douglas?
Yeah.
What? Skateboard guy? Are you fucking kidding me? He goes, Todd, listen to me. He's going to be a great heel. I said, Shane Douglas. He goes, yeah, Shane Douglas. If you trust me. I said, look, I gave you the book. I trust you. Bring him in. Let's see.
Yeah.
You get it. Who knew? Give him a microphone. It's like, even to this day, you ask him one question, he'll go 60 minutes with an answer. It's like, you can't shut him up.
Yeah. Todd, last question for you, man. What do you feel the legacy of ECW is? And are you proud that you were there at the beginning to help start it?
Are you kidding? I'm proud. I couldn't be more proud of my own child. I mean, I birthed it. I went through all the different phases of it. I went through all the painstaking, good and bad from the beginning, the mistakes and learning from mistakes.
Yeah.
I feel like I became extremely knowledgeable to the business and how to run a company. And I helped other people get started. I helped other people run their companies and book their companies for them. I did it for a couple of different companies. It gave me so much. I wrote a book out of it. My God, I had a great selling book, from the, so yeah, I'm nothing but proud of it. I wear it like a badge.
And what's the legacy of ECW?
I think the legacy is that if you really care about something, if you're passionate and you really have the right kind of people with you, you can do anything. You can be that little engine that could. You can be the bingo hall that people remember 30 something years later. And that's a legacy in itself.
Well, dude, it's great talking to you and reconnecting with you. And Todd is God is the book. If you want to hear more stories, but yeah, what a great reconnection, man. And say hi
Pleasure's
to Scorp.
mine. I will.
Say hi to Scorp and Sandman and Fonzie for me on your 70th birthday. Congratulations.